In this video, I want to walk you through section 3, which is the results of your study that you conducted this spring, and then go through an example to kind of highlight some of the features that you'll be working on. So as I said in the overview of the sections, the results, which is section 3, is where you present your research questions and you answer those research questions with supporting data. The discussion, section 4, is where you will make meaning of that. You'll connect it back to the literature and sort of explain what was happening. But in the results, it's really just what did you find and where's the evidence for those findings. So you may want to take a look at the results rubric and kind of use that to guide. The biggest piece here is there sufficient data evidence for the reader to understand your findings. And then the other part of this is, have you made sense of it in a way that the reader can digest, both through the use of tables and figures, and then also in the organization and logic of the writing. So before I go on to the tables and figures, for this one I'm going to use Lori Catney's and Lee Harper's paper. They, a couple years ago, they really wanted to look at the role of induction and mentoring in teacher persistence. And so they did a mixed method study, surveys both of counties and then of specific districts to kind of try and parse out what was going on with this. So their results section, they just restate what kind of study it was, what were those questions, and then kind of what the big goal was for their study, and started right off with a nice strong visual for readers to make sense of what they found and kind of what were those populations that they were looking at, and then what was that sample. Then they dive into the research question, and they did a beautiful job of using tables and figures and really integrating the qualitative and quantitative data to make sense of their findings. So they present the numeric, but then they help us understand what those numbers mean and what supporting qualitative data there was as well. They do a nice job of breaking it into some sort of subheadings and moving us through kind of the various elements that they found as significant for the teachers in this study. You'll note that they integrated quotes directly from the surveys. They did that interspersed with their own narrative. Some of the quotes are less than 40 words, and then when it's over 40 words, again, it gets a block quote, just like if it was literature. So a nice blend of really using participant words and a nice blend of quantitative, qualitative to triangulate the findings that they have here. You can get a sense here of the volume of participant voices, which is great. Then they move into research question 2 and present their findings and move us through the evidence, again, quantitative and qualitative, for what they claim to have found. Breaking it again into those subheadings, and really effective use of transitions in their writing. Lastly, those sort of pieces help to move the reader, through the findings. So again, then finally into research question 3, they've got their tables and then their quantitative data compared to their qualitative, and they did a correlation as well. They did explore some of the negatives as well as positives, and then sort of bring that section to conclusion before moving into their discussion. I have given you some guidance around tables and figures. They really are an important part of what you're doing, whether it's quantitative or qualitative data. They should always be referenced in the narrative text of your report prior to appearing. Tables, the text would be up here. You would reference that table 3 is coming up, then table 3, the title is above, italics for the specific information included in that, and then you would have the table and your text would continue below. A figure is a chart or a graph of some sort. And again, the narrative would be up here. You'd reference that it's coming, then italics for the figure 4, whatever number they go sequentially, and then it is not italicized for the title of that figure. So hopefully this will provide some orientation for you as you are thinking about how to present the results section for your report.